Today's program is brought to you by Vagabond Creative Studio and KLO LLC. Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Kristin and Tina. Hi, Kristin.
Good morning. Cheers. No, cheers the other way.
Say, this is Kristin. This is Kristin Odell of KLO LLC. I'm Tina Prigge with Vagabond Creative, and we are so happy to see you this morning.
You guys, I know we always do this, and you're probably like, why the hell do they keep doing this? But it's because it's really hard. It's opposite. In order for me to point at Tina, I have to point to the right. And so it shouldn't be that complicated, but it is complicated.
It is. It's like the whole mind space of being live online. It looks like we're next to each other, but we're not at all. You are in your own remote location. I'm in my undisclosed, remote location. And so I have to think out loud, in my head, kind of out loud, which way to point, because if I point this way, but you're not either direction, really.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, you're pointing to air.
Yes.
The other thing is I feel like this is a little right brain, left brain, or like the rub your tummy, tap your head thing. You have to be able to think, even though I want to point to the left on the screen, I have to point to my right here. It takes a...
That's right. Because we are visually seeing ourselves on the screen. And when we see ourselves, we are ordered a certain way. So it feels like I should point like this and there you are, but nope. Every time it's this way.
I love it. How's your morning going so far?
So far, it's great. It's beautiful. I can definitely tell that spring is on the cusp. I know March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb. And I know we haven't seen the lion yet, but is it possible that there would be a year without a lion? Because it's feeling good.
I feel like I don't want to say it out loud because we might jinx something, but yeah, I know it's been pretty nice. And it's supposed to be again, in the 50s today. Now, I did see a meme the other day that said this is fake spring. And then there's a snowstorm in between. And then the second fake spring. And then maybe one more snow. And then real spring. And then summer. So I'm trying to not get my expectations too high.
I mean, that does seem to be the way it goes most years. We are like hobbits up here, right? We have a first breakfast, second breakfast, 11sies. But here it's, first winter, second winter, fake spring.
Right. But I will take it. I mean, it was gorgeous yesterday. The sun was shining. It's nice today. The sun's not quite as bright today, but I mean, I had our homeschool group out yesterday afternoon. We were at a park doing a spring scavenger hunt and playing. And it felt so good to get fresh air and be out with just my vest on. I didn't have to wear a jacket today.
Right. Only one layer. It must be spring.
Right. Exactly. So,
I got my bike out the other day, which just felt so liberating and amazing.
Yeah, our girls got their hoverboards outside yesterday and rode around after school with some friends last night. And they that's very, very exciting when you can meet the neighborhood kids out for play. It's spring then.
It's a good sign. That's exciting. Yeah. Hey, Kristin, last week on the show, we were talking about the new harmonic egg that's at Balance on Buffalo. And you told me you got to try it this week. Tell us, what was that?
I did. So Gina and I met up and she kind of gave me the rundown, and it was such a relaxing experience. And I mean, it's a little bizarre the first time you get in there. So you have to think also you have to be open-minded, I think, because it is just something different. But I kind of felt the vibration right away from the music. I don't know if everybody has that experience. I felt when you're maybe a young adult or my age, when you're turning music up that you love and you feel that bass vibration in the car, that is kind of what it felt like to me. So I kind of felt it instantly, but as I was laying there, my legs started twitching. So you guys, do you know when you fall asleep or you're falling into sleep and all of a sudden you're and you have that jolt? My legs started doing that on their own. My one leg would go and then a little while later, the other one would go. And then at one point it was up to my quadricep, my whole leg lifted. So there's clearly some energy, something or other happening in there. Wow. And then I fell asleep. And I slept for the remaining amount of time, however much that was, until the music turned off. And the minute the music turned off, I was right back in the chair, eyes bing, I was right there. I was full of energy. I went home and worked a very focused work for 2.5 hours, straight through. And I felt great the next day. So Now I did see Wendy. Wendy kind of gave me an update. So I had shared on the show last week that she felt like she had great energy. She gave me a correction. She said her inner energy, like her vibrational level, was very high, but she was exhausted. She went home and ate lunch the day she did it, and then she slept for like 3 hours.
Oh.
Got up and saw her husband and had dinner and went back to bed and slept all the way through the night.
Oh.
So like that was different than what we talked about last week. So,
I wonder if it allows you to achieve what you need, right? So for you, probably the best possible outcome was focused work. And then in Wendy's case, maybe her body just needed to like totally sleep and relax. And maybe she, was in need of that or something.
Right. Well, and I think, anytime we have like 40 or 50 minutes of uninterrupted time, like you literally think about shutting everything out and just being, I'm right here for the next 45 minutes. Whatever you need to do after that, whether it's sleep or work or whatever, I feel like it would come easy because you've just had your brain has literally shut off for that period of time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So it was a wonderful experience. Doug is actually going to go try it next weekend. So I'm curious to see about, what he thinks and how his body responds to it. So
you think he'd pop on the show and give us a little debrief?
I'll see. Normally he has a meeting at this time, which is why, folks, he's never been able to join us.
Oh, so, how convenient, Doug.
I know. If there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that would be lovely.
Well, I asked my dad if he wanted to do a cameo on the show because he was telling me yesterday that he enjoys it. And then I said, hey, you want to be on? He's like, well, the thing is, it's so early.
Dad, it's not. If he watches, does he watch it after the fact? Then he doesn't watch us live?
I think it's after the fact. Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
I think he watches it in syndication.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of dads, you have a split to share. So you guys, back in February, we talked about it was my dad's 79th birthday, and we got on the topic of him looking like Walter, one of Jeff Dunham's puppets. And so my mom actually sent this to me yesterday. We were having some jovialness about my father's attitude sometimes. And she sent this to me, and I'm like, I have to send this to Tina so that everybody knows what Walter looks like. And so Jason was kind enough to do this split screen. Tina, do you see the resemblance?
I totally do, but it's so hard to believe that this happy, smiling guy that's your dad on the right, you know what I mean, could look cranky like Walter on the left, but I get it. I totally get it.
If you look real deep at those creases between his eyes and his forehead, you can see it. Oh, I love my dad dearly. He, even in his most curmudgeonous, grumpy ways, I love him. He makes me laugh. Like, I just find his grumpiness comical. And so, yes, thank you for humoring me.
If you showed that to your dad, does he see the resemblance? Does he agree?
Oh, yeah. He would lean into being more like Walter.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I always thought it'd be awesome to have like a puppet version of myself.
Yeah, that's exactly like what it is. Speaking of that, so I went and dropped the kids' homeschool self-portraits off, and I walked through the exhibit while I was there, and I saw yours right away. I walked to it. I was drawn to it. And I'm like, that has to be Tina. And then I peeked around the backside and validated that it was you. But there were some, like my friend Ruth, same thing. I looked at him like, this has to be Ruth. And it was Ruth.
Wow.
Right?
Well, I'm amazed that I actually captured something that you could tell it was me.
Maybe it's just because I get to study your face for 30 minutes every Tuesday morning while I'm talking to you, and I just know all the features.
Yeah, let's talk a second about the exhibit. Here's a little picture of one of the panels. That's Teak. His submission is somewhere on that panel. But it's really cool. And Kristin, you were saying that you were surprised that there weren't more. I'm also surprised that more people haven't participated. I know that they're still accepting them and then adding new panels as needed. But it is so neat to walk around and see how different people have chosen to portray themselves. And then the little write-up on the back, their little description, it was just so touching. And to see like the diversity and to appreciate oh man, our community is so awesome. And what's neat too is looking at some of these, I saw people where they were like, 74, 80 years old, and then there were like 12-year-olds and 8-year-olds and the whole gamut in between. So I love the fact that it's community wide.
Right. Yeah. I saw some that also people were later in age, and I'm like, man, if I can draw and like think at that point, I don't know, it seems so far away, but yeah, I agree. They were really cool. And I love even that some of them were like a half a face. Some of them were full body. Some of them included things they love. Like you cannot do this wrong. So go do it, folks. The kids did theirs on recipe cards. We did not have, I have it here somewhere. It's gone. They have really nice paper, drawing paper that you can pick up from the RAR West, but we did it on recipe cards with our group. So don't be afraid. You can cut a page to 4x6 and take it there and then go visit it.
Yeah, it is so neat. I love it. I mean, I just love the fact that there's such a beautiful project, and it's at the RAR West Art Museum, which as a community, how cool that we have our own museum with a permanent collection too, that, really is world class. Mm-hmm. And I think it's all due to, people in the past having the foresight to invest in the community and to make that commitment to the community. And now that we have, administrators that are willing to keep that tradition going.
Right. The other thing that's cool is, my girls have had an opportunity or been selected for Youth Art Month in the past. So they have had their own artwork on display there, which is neat. But otherwise, individuals typically wouldn't have an opportunity to have their own art on display there. So this is really an opportunity as an amateur artist to have a very special piece of yourself be in the RAR West Art Museum.
Absolutely.
Do it, folks.
Do it.
Out there and do it.
Today. Yeah, and they have the special paper that Kristin was talking about available. It's no cost. It's easy to pick up. You can use any medium that you want. It can be pencil, crayon, marker, paints, collage. Some people, printed something and then adhered it to the paper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, I would also say like the focus is people from Manitowoc County, but if you are in Michigan or Ludington or Ohio or in Green Bay or in another, do it and mail them in. We'd love to see your stuff there.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Kristin, you sent me a cool meme and I'm going to put it up here. Tell us about this.
So I saw this on Facebook and, I wouldn't necessarily put a lot of weight in these things. They're just kind of fun things, but I did mine and these are my 4 words: blessings, happiness, creation, and connections. And I thought after I did it, wow, that was kind of cool. I love the words that I saw. And then Tina and I were just talking briefly before the show. Then I was like, are there actually other words in it? And look what Tina got. Tina, what are yours? Read them off.
Love, family, career, and friendship.
So there are other words in the thing, in the picture. So we want to know, when you look at this, what words do you see? Because we clearly see different words. Like when I look at it, I still see the word blessings over and over and over again, and I don't see other words. So my brain is taking me to words that are different than your words.
Yeah, it's interesting. I tried looking for other words when I did it, and then I was like, well, these are probably the only 4 words in there. And then Kristin shared her words with me. I'm like, oh, clearly not. There's plenty of other words to see. So it's interesting what your mind sees.
Right. So we would love for you to comment on, when you look at this, what do you see, first of all? And then second of all, what do you think about it? Because when I thought about blessings, happiness, creation, and connections, I was like, I kind of love it.
It's perfect for you. Those words totally sum you up. But I felt the same about my words too. Love, family, career, friendship. I felt like they were the great words to have for 2021.
Yeah. And the other thing is, based on at least these 2 lists, they're all positive words. Right?
Oh, right. So
I also like that because, if you need a bit of positivity or support, now I dropped and posted on the floor, friends. Good morning, Kayla. Happiness, friendship, career, and blessings. So she's got a mix of both of us.
Nice.
How great is that?
Cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Kayla's my neighbor.
And I just have to say, look at my, look at the new office supply Jason got me. They're black Post-it notes and like a silver Sharpie. Oh my gosh, I love this.
I do love it. That's fine. Those I feel like are good for like something you really, really need to see. You need it to like stand out.
To totally pop, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take this down, but if anyone else, oh, wait, let's see. If anyone else has looked. Oh, Mary says friendship, career, and family.
Nice. Good. I love it. Okay, we'll see. I would love for somebody to come with a word that neither of us has.
Yeah.
Like nobody has seen. How great would that be?
Right.
Or a diagonal word. Like all of my words were online. So I wonder if there's like diagonal words in there.
Are there? I don't know. My mind doesn't really work that way on the cuff, off the cuff.
No, right? All right, friends, tell us what you see.
Yeah.
Do you see what I see?
Jason.
Jason, can you send us the phonetic way of saying that, please?
And
I hear $$ curry.
we need you to use that in a sentence, please. Chris has got travel, create. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Blessings. Nice.
So travel is a new word. I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like a good omen for 2021, being able to travel again.
Right. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, here's hoping.
On the road again. I can't wait to get on the road again.
Kristin, you're good.
Only in my stage voice.
You know, we always talk a little bit about like attitude and choices and mindset. And this meme kind of summed that up, right? Like you can, in the road of life, you can choose, right, which way you want to look at it. And you can choose the belief that everything is going to go right, or you can choose going forward that everything is going to go wrong, and then sort of see what life gives you that way.
Mm-hmm. I like the little black cat in the everything can go wrong picture.
And there's a mountain in the distance that looks like it has sun. So even if you get through, everything can go wrong. I think there's hope on the other end.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think this is good. And I think even when things are really difficult, you can say, I'm going to do everything I can to make this go right or be a positive thing. It still may not all go exactly how you want it to go. But I think when you go in that mindset of saying, I'm going to work really hard, I'm going to do everything I can to have this be successful, then it will get you much farther than the everything can go wrong.
Right.
Like, everything will go wrong if that's what you think.
Right. Right. It doesn't guarantee that everything will go right. But if you go forward with that belief, it seems like the chances of success are higher.
Right. I would also like to point out that I see the little spider web with the spider, which made me think of Charlotte's Web. It's also a positive experience. So, I mean,
and I think there's a pothole. So maybe this is just reflecting Washington Street.
Yeah, you're right.
So speaking of cats, I just have to share this picture too. I was at my mom and dad's house, and this cat is so funny. So usually on this couch corner, there's like a throw pillow, and he goes up there himself daily and will kick the pillow off and then burrows under the Afghan and just naps like that with his butt sticking out.
I just would love to know if is there like a animal medium out there that could tell us what the cat is thinking in this moment? Like, is this like the version of the harmonic egg for cats? Is this I'm just going to bury my head in the sand for cats? Is it just like warm? I'm very curious about it.
Yeah, I don't know what he's thinking. And it's interesting that he does it, it wasn't just a one-off random thing.
Right.
Purposeful.
So funny. The other thing is, like, because of how his tail is tucked, you almost cannot tell, like, is that a cat or is it a dog? Like, what kind of animal is tucked in there? Because it's just this furry little ball.
Hey, Risa sent us her 4 words: happiness, blessings, creation, and love.
Oh, nice. See, love is also a new one.
Love was on my list.
What, love was on your list? See, that's how much memory I have. Oh my!
That's why this show is recorded, right?
Right. Yeah. At least you can tell it back to me. Folks, there's a reason I had to write it on a Post-it note, and it's because I cannot retain them in my brain. There's not enough space for all the things.
So what else is going on?
Well, I was thinking about St. Patrick's Day coming next week.
That's next week already.
Right? Today's the 9th.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys do anything to celebrate St. Patrick's Day?
Well, I am part Irish. And so, in years past, pre-child, it was always a whoop and holler. And then with the child, we'd always go to the St. Patrick's Day parade. But last year was completely different, like off the charts, like we did nothing.
Right.
So this year I don't know. I hardly know what day it is. So what about you guys?
So I'm also part Irish. And historically speaking, St. Patrick's Day has always been a day to celebrate and do fun things, typically with the kids. I would say in Doug's early years, his St. Patrick's Day often involved like a kilt and a lot of green beer and, just a lot of things. So we've grown into being a mature adult. So we probably aren't going to go quite that extreme. But I used to do, Mary's walking in the parade. That's fun. I'm going to be honest. I didn't know there was a parade this year.
I didn't either. So Mary, thank you for saying that.
Yes. I used to very slowly cook corned beef overnight, 12 hours on super low heat, and it would get very tender. And then I would chill it in the refrigerator. And then the next day do an event that I like to call the pulling of the fat, which was to take all the corned beef, which is now very tender from cooking, and pull it away from the fat. So it was not rubbery like sometimes corned beef can be. All the fat was pulled off and it was just this delicious meat. And then we would eat it plain, or we would put it in Reuben rolls. So I was thinking like I maybe need to bring back the pulling of the fat and make some delicious corned beef for that night.
That sounds pretty good.
Right?
And teach the girls how to do it. What a cool memory.
Yeah. And then I wouldn't have to pull as much fat. It's a slow and tedious process.
So Mary is dressing up for the holiday or for the St. Patrick's Day parade as an Irish beer wench with a curly wig. Curly red wig.
Mary, I'm impressed. I hope it's warm.
And get this, Mary doesn't have an ounce of Irish. But yes, I don't know if you've ever seen the costumes. Like even look at Mary's thumbnail picture there. Mary is a bona fide shapeshifter. If she chooses to dress up in a costume, it is full and complete, and she absolutely becomes that character. It's such an amazing talent, Mary. Thank you for sharing that.
How fun. Yeah, that's cool. So I don't know. We'll see something. I mean, I've also done stuff with the kids, like green pancakes in the morning, where we try to do like heart-shaped leaves and put them together and stuff. So we will do something.
In Chicago, do they still turn the river green? I remember that used to be a big thing when I went to college down there, but
I don't know pandemic wise yet if they are, but I do know like a couple of years ago, they were still doing it.
Interesting. So. Have you ever taken the family down there?
No, but Doug Kristin lived in Chicago and partook, which maybe is where, the kilt and the green beer and some of those other things came into play.
Yeah, I can tell you what not to do on St. Patrick's Day. Jason and I, when we were first dating or right before we got married, we lived in an apartment on top of the hill of 10th Street. So like just beyond Tower Tavern. Okay. So for St. Patrick's Day, we're like, hey, we'll walk down to the parade. We'll just go down the hill and we'll just stop at each pub along the way and do a shot. And like in my mind, that meant there were 3 pubs. Do you know how many pubs there are just on that stretch?
A lot.
I don't even remember the parade that year.
That is funny.
So do not do that. That is not.
Hey, I mean, or, maybe try that and have the experience. I mean, you were walking, so in theory, you were safe. You weren't driving, right? Like, do not be afraid. Friends, you'll have to tell us what you decide to do.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, you look like you're going to say something.
Oh, I was just going to say, does anybody remember this classic game called Risk? So this is something that, like, when I was a kid, my brothers and I used to play, and my brother used to, like, dominate. He would always world domination was in his blood or in his dice. just recently, I got a version for our son, and it turns out he really likes it too, and the dice are always in his favor. But when he mentioned it to my dad, it turns out it was one of my dad's favorite games, even though we played it together when we were kids. before he even had a family, it was one of his favorite games that he would play with his buddies. And so now it's kind of cool because my son and my dad will play this game together.
That is really cool. I wonder when Risk came out.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
That's super, I know there's a lot of strategy to playing Risk, correct?
There is, and it's all about taking over the world. But if you're too bold, like you can draw down your troops too much. Yeah, there is some strategy. I'm not very good at it, so I guess I'm not the one to talk about the strategy. Mary agrees, great game, but terrible at it.
Right. So that picture kind of reminded me of something. So we have played Settlers of Catan in the past, which the world kind of gets recreated every time with resources, but you build resource or build houses on, and depending on how well you build determines how many resources you get and how successful you are. So there is some strategy to that, but I think that maybe it's a little bit lighter in strategy or thinking than Risk. I don't know, but we have come to enjoy playing that game.
I feel like in my mind's eye, Risk is the type of game where usually there's a moment where the whole thing is getting flipped and the pieces go flying and somebody's leaving.
Right. I feel like also like Monopoly can be like that.
Yes.
So
I think it shares a lot in common with Monopoly as far as just trying to monopolize everything.
Right. Now, I would say when I think about the game Risk, I'm not going to say that it's a men's game, but I feel like all the people I know, it's typically guys or boys that play it, and the women I know don't enjoy it. So maybe we just play games for fun and it's too much thinking.
Yeah, it's true. I do like to play games that are fun, that are kind of social. Yeah, Risk is almost like you have to really keep to yourself.
Right.
Like plot your domination.
Right.
So what games are other people playing out there? Give us some suggestions. I'm always looking for, a new game to try out.
Right. We have been we also played Phase 10 recently, which is a card game where you have to get like it's just a deck, and then you have to get certain things in each hand. And if you get that thing, then you pass that round or that level, and you get to go to the next one. And you play each round until all your cards are gone. So once one player's cards are gone, then you have to record how many points you have based on the cards in your hand. And then if you laid down whatever needed to be laid down in that round, then you get to go on to the next one. And if the people didn't lay down, then they have to repeat that level. And I've had this game for a long time. I've played it before, but we kind of pulled it back out a couple weeks ago. And it was like really hard. And in the beginning, some people were way ahead. And by the end, they were way behind, because like you can get stuck on a level and then not be able to move. So it's one of those, like it's like a $5 card game you can get, in the card section.
So is it more based on luck rather than strategy, or is there some strategy involved?
A little bit of both. So obviously it all depends on how the cards get shuffled. But I would also say that you have an opportunity to pick a card off the pile or pick a card off the discard pile to change your hand. So there is strategy in how you go about doing that and what you want to keep in your hand. So
see, to me, that sounds fun. I love cribbage, which kind of has that concept. That's my type of game.
Yeah.
Raisa says she's not a strategy girl. She says, give me word games. Yes, I also love word games.
I feel like word games are strategic, though. Like Scrabble to me would be a very thinking heavy strategic game.
Yeah, that's true.
Cribbage I love. To me, cribbage is mindless. We can just play and, have fun, and I don't know. It's good.
Hey, let's play cribbage sometime. That would be awesome.
That would be good.
Mary's playing the Harry Potter board game right now.
Ooh, I've not seen that before. I wonder what the game strategy is.
Right. Is it based on the movies? Interesting.
So it's
a Lego Harry Potter game with Teak as a video game, but
yeah, there you go. I know sometimes even we still cooperative. You play against the game together. Ooh, interesting.
Oh, I kind of like that instead of pitting players against one another, you have to band together to accomplish the goal. That's cool.
Yeah. We still play classics like Uno and Crazy 8 and King's Corners with the kids, like just very simple games that you just need a deck of cards for. Like the girls love playing those games too. And I think they're just as fun as they think. So that's always a win.
Oh, that's cool. I love classic games too, like Othello and Mastermind, where you have to think about things, but it's not risk level.
Right. We also play Farkle. Have you ever played the dice game Farkle?
I love Farkle.
Yeah. So that would be like an example of the dice are going to probably, there's some strategy, but the dice are going to roll how they roll. Very social, like there's visiting around the table. Occasionally we may have challenges, something that has to happen if you stack dice or dice fall off the table, then we might put some house rules in place that you have to do something. But those are a little more casual, not so much thinking.
Right. Oh, you're making me want to play some games.
Let's do it.
Well, thank you so much, you guys. What a fun conversation once again. Already 30 minutes has elapsed, and so we've taken enough of your time, but wow, this has just been great. I've really enjoyed it.
It has. And guys, if you are our post live watchers, tell us what you saw in the 2021. I'd love to see some of the comments. I often go back in the next evening or the next day just to see what comments have come in since the show has been on. And we would love to see what else other words people see out there.
Absolutely. Well, we've loved sharing our morning with you. Thank you so much for watching Coffee with Kristin and Tina. We'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.